Hello, how y'all doing? Thank you for coming out. I mean, it'd be hard to have a press conference with no press, so thank you all for coming out to support this, to cover this. Thank you for coming out to cover the team. It was really important for me to kind of start this thing off with a bang and to say kind of all the right things. So last night I called my brother, and my brother, who's been a part of the media, I wanted some advice from him. I was like, hey, man, how should I start this off? And he said, you know, what's important, like the key takeaways or the key things for you will be to be um, to be honest and to be brief. So I'll promise y'all I'll be honest. Right? So, first, I want to thank God for this, opportunity. I want to thank God for closing a lot of doors. On my journey here to South Bend, there's been a lot of doors closed, but only for him to open up doors that I didn't even realize existed. So I'm grateful for that. And so, just complete honor to be up here. I'm excited about this opportunity. I'm excited about this place, this team, and excited about getting to know all of you and all of the staff here. I'd like to start by also saying, if I can, a few things. I want to say thank you to my family, to my wife, who I would definitely not be here without her. She's made more sacrifices for me than I can count. And if I had 1,000 tongues, it wouldn't be enough to thank her enough for all of this and for everything she's done for me. I want to thank my children. As you guys can probably tell and follow, faith is important to me, football is important, but family is really, really important to me. So I want to thank my kids, my son, Madden Martin, my daughter Malone, who have allowed their mother and I to drag them around, 5 different states, 6 different states, and 11 different homes in 12 years. And so without them, being selfless and without their sacrifices, this wouldn't be possible either. I quickly want to thank the Detroit Lions. It's been an awesome 4-year ride there. Sheila Ford Hamp, Rod Wood, Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes. It was really a fun time there, really great people, really great culture. And it actually was what made this so attractive. I saw a lot of the same things here. And so that's what made this opportunity attractive. So I want to thank them. I want to thank my OTT boys who are there grinding right now in the draft room, sort of getting ready for this up-and-coming draft. Thank all of you. I want to thank Notre Dame. I want to thank my new Notre Dame family. This has been awesome. I feel like I've been sort of just embraced ever since I got here, since I've arrived here. And I want to thank all of you for just taking me in, embracing me. I want to thank Marcus Freeman. He's a big part of why I'm here. I want to thank him for opening my eyes to this opportunity and offering this opportunity to me that I, again, didn't realize existed. And it's been fun getting to know Marcus. I know all of you know him probably even better than I do, but love his energy, love his charisma, love the presence that he has. I just, the guy has just so much inside in terms of competitiveness and just fire, and I can see why the team is sort of built in his likeness. And so it's an honor and a privilege to be here, and the main reason I'm here is to support him and his vision for this program. And so, lastly, I want to thank Pete Bavacqua. I want to thank Ron Paulus. I want to thank all the other members here that have been a key part of getting me here to the place where I am today. So, without anything else, I guess I'm open to any questions.
We're going to start on the right backside, Tim Priester.
Right here, Mike.
Wait. I gotta say one more thing. I want to thank my parents. I would have been. My mom would have killed me if I didn't say that. So I want to thank I knew I missed something. So I want to thank my mom, my dad. Speaking of sacrifices, I don't know that anyone's made greater sacrifices. So my mom and dad are a big part of why I'm here. My family in general, my brothers and sisters. I got a huge family, a beautifully blended family. We were kind of referred to as a Black Brady Bunch at one point. And so, awesome family, and they've just kind of supported me in ways you couldn't even imagine. I want to thank them. I want to thank you. And So, yeah, now I guess we're good for questions.
Right here, Mike. Tim Priester from Irish Illustrated.
Hey, Tim.
Nice to talk to you. In the release that was put out by Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman was quoted as saying that you were forward-thinking, innovative, and elite at talent evaluation. I'm sure you're not going to brag about yourself per se, but just give us a little bit of insight, if you could, please, as to what areas you were forward-thinking and innovative.
Yeah, I think process is a big part of what I believe in. I think to everything there's a process, and just sort of developing out those processes and being well thought out with those processes are a big thing. You know, even in evaluation, there's a lot more than just, hey, seeing a talented kid play football. There's a lot that goes into it, you know, digging and figuring out the background of kids. I'm a big believer in just the intangibles, so character will be a big part. And I know here, like, there's so many people of character that, you know, if you don't have that, and if you're not of a certain ilk, you'll be a little out of place here. So I want to make sure you guys understand process for me is it starts with some of the character. And then when you get to the evaluation process, it's identifying players that fit what we're looking for, not just on the field, but just in terms of as a person, people that are open to being developed, because it's important that we develop young individuals, and whether it's football players, whether it's athletes, whether it's employees I'll work alongside. You know, it's just important to develop them. It's important that they understand that we kind of share the goal of trying to reach team greatness, right? So it's all a collaborative thing and a team thing, and team glory will be, you know, huge here. Marcus says it all over and over again. It's about team glory. So developing processes that'll allow us to find those type of people. Efficiency is important to me. So just finding ways to be efficient. You know, I know that this is sort of, you know, it's a little bit of a crazy deal, you know. There's players all over the country, and you're hearing this guy's a 5-star, this guy's a 4-star, this person's a 3-star. So just trying to figure out ways that we can evaluate them and put our own thoughts on individuals. We won't be driven or led by, you know, magazines. Like we'll work closely with a lot of different people, and we have a lot of respect, but we'll have our own evaluation of people and players, and so it's important just to create those type of processes.
I guess an area where there might be somewhat of a correlation to the NFL, you have NFL free agency. In college you have transfer portal additions. Could you just give us a general idea as to what your approach is and what your thought process is with the transfer portal?
Yeah, you know, similar to, you know, my beliefs in the NFL, I believed in the NFL throughout my career that you build through the draft and you sort of supplement the roster in free agency. I mean, I'm sure you all heard that before. It'll be very similar here. You know, we're in the development business, so we're going to lean heavily on our recruits and the guys that we recruit out of high school. We're going to make sure that we get the right people, the right individuals there. We will we're constantly looking to improve the roster. So we'll do some of that by going to the portal. We won't live in the portal. And, you know, obviously we have academic things here, right? The academic rigor, like we pride ourselves on that. So we won't be able to reach out. We're not looking to reach out to every single person in the portal. We'll be very selective there. But again, just all about bringing in the right people, and also the right characters and the right fit for our team. Thanks.
To your right, Eric Hansen.
Okay, Eric.
Hey, Mike, how are you doing? Eric Hansen with Inside ND Sports. My first question, your background is so much NFL.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, where does that help you in this job? And where do you need to learn and or surround yourself with people that address what you don't have experience in?
Right. First, I'll say that I thought that last part you said, how will you surround yourself with people that can help me with experiences I don't have? I believe in that. Like, I'll be the first to tell you I won't have every single answer. I'm learning. Shoot, I just learned what the bathroom was yesterday. So there's a lot that I have to learn here. And so, you know, I'll start there by saying, like, this is going to be there's a learning curve here for me. One that I'm excited to kind of take on. But the recruiting elements will be sort of new to me. I've done some recruiting, but it's undrafted rookie free agents, or it's recruiting guys in free agency. But I will lean heavily on my staff. Fortunately, I've walked into this awesome staff that they're well versed in the recruiting world, and so really I'm coming in saying, hey, where can I add value? This team made it to the national championship before I ever even stepped foot here. So they're teaching me just as much as I'm learning just as much from them as I look to teach. But I do think there's some parallels now, right, with the NFL and with college. You mentioned the portal similar to free agency. Like, there's a lot of moving parts. So just being able to understand what players are available there, who's entered the portal, what type of talents exist there, and where can we look to add to our team and make improvements. There's, up and coming here in the near future, there'll be revenue sharing, which is, I don't want to call it the cap. There's some similarities to where payers obviously getting paid for name, image, and likeness, and so there's some things that need to be managed there. And I think some of my experiences and past experiences help me and kind of set me up well for that job.
And for these GM jobs have popped up all over the place. There's not a boilerplate template for what they're supposed to look like. But come April 7th with the House hearing, the goalposts are going to move somewhere.
Yeah.
So what was attractive about that challenge, not knowing some things about roster size and revenue sharing and NIL, exactly what that would look like? Yeah. And then once that happens, how do you plan to adapt to that?
Yeah, I think we'll be fluid. I think there's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of moving parts. I like the way you put it. The goalposts are moving, and I think they're going to continue to move. I don't think there's any set way. I think the challenge of it all, like some of the unknown, is what intrigued me about this job. Right, like if there's no challenge, I don't want it. It's not for me, and so I'm excited about this challenge. Again. It's hard to completely answer that because I think there's probably personnel departments, there's GMs all across the country trying to figure out that same answer right now. So hopefully I'll be better versed to tell you down the road about that. But there's a lot of moving pieces. All I can tell you is I'm excited about, kind of meeting them, head on and jumping into action whenever we get some idea of when things are going to happen and what it's going to look like moving forward.
Second row
Thank you.
on your left, up the middle, Mike Berardino.
Yep.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Matt Jansen's a guy that's a known quantity to you, and I'm sure
Matty J.
That's right. Stayed in touch with him. What makes him so good at what he does, and how attractive? How much of a factor was that relationship in giving you comfort to come here?
Yeah. How much did Matt pay you to ask that question? No, Matt. I met Matt years ago in Houston, and we both were really young. And what attracted me to Matt was, man, he's just really sharp and understands football. And he's a great evaluator of talent. And he's always just been very coordinated. I think he was our coordinator, our college coordinator back in Houston, sort of kept everyone on track. So Matt is sort of giving me the lay of the land here. And it's been awesome to walk into a building and see a familiar face. Again, he's one that I'll lean on heavily with his evaluations. Not just he was really active in the portal this past year. We want to kind of expand that for him and have him watch some of the high school stuff. But yeah, he'll be an essential part of what we do moving forward. And he brings a lot of value just in terms of, again, he's a great people person. He doesn't like to admit it, but he has a recruiting background. He's been awesome there, and so he'll be a big part, in that recruiting office for us. But his evaluation skills will be crucial for us.
Thanks.
Yep,
Yeah,
thanks.
no payments. And then I guess you mentioned kind of the similarities increasingly, the NFL game and the college game in terms of the job description. But
Yes.
the way the NFL evaluates positional value evolves always. The Lions, I suppose every team has their kind of template for that.
Yes.
Where the Lions were with their efficiencies in finding out which positions they believed in more. How much will you bring to this? And is there a difference that you can gather already in the way the college game is on the field that will affect the positional values demonstrably?
Definitely. I think we'll be fluid there. I think it's to every team, it's a different situation, right? The team that we were last year won't be kind of where we are this year. And some of the ways we value positions, even that'll change. And it changed year to year with Detroit. I do think, like, you know, we have how we like to play football, and that influences a lot of what we'll look for. But whether it's offensive line, or whether it's running backs, regardless of whatever position it is, like, I think we're more principled in the type of player, but also, like, I do think, you know, looking at it more, and I have obviously more research to do, but I do think there'll be areas that we'll focus in on, and there'll be specific players that we're looking for those positions. I have some idea of that, and I want to just continue to work through it. So, thank you.
Front row on your right, Pete Sampson.
Hey, Mike. Pete Sampson with The Athletic.
Hey, Pete.
I was interested, like, in terms of your career arc, when personnel and scouting became a passion that you want to follow,
Yeah.
whether, you know, going back to playing at Jesuit, Vanderbilt, you know, a volunteer coach at Berkeley Prep with Coach Sayo.
Uh-oh.
Like, when were you like, okay, this is my football path, more personnel, more front office?
Yeah, I think it was right after the NFL told me I wasn't good enough to play, you know? So I played at Vanderbilt, enjoyed a career there, and another awesome, you know, academic, education there, and academic school that, you know, did a lot for me. But I look to try to play just as, you know, most kids that age look to try to play as long as they can, and opportunity just wasn't there for me. And it was funny because I was taking a job at Cintas, a uniform company out in Arizona. I mean, I was limited to, hey, I'm gonna go to American Express Financials or Cintas, a uniform company. And I was legit, I was out there accepting the job when I got a phone call, and it was from Nancy Hasselman, who was Mark Dominic's assistant there at Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and this was right after they won the Super Bowl. And she called and asked if I'd be interested in interviewing for a scouting assistant role. And so I'm sitting there thinking, like, man, I know I'm telling these people today that I'm going to take this job, but going back to Tampa sounds good, and working for the world champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I think it was that day when I decided, like, hey, man, this is something I'd like to look into. And so, you know, went there, was able to get the job, and then right away I realized, you know, this is something that, you know, I'm passionate about. I think I'd been scouting for years, whether it was in Little League, like, man, I don't want to go against that guy. You're kind of counting, like, no, okay, I want to be the third guy so I don't have to go against that big guy. You know, it's like I've been evaluating talent, and so it took that opportunity to sort of bring that to the forefront. But I think it was right around there when I realized that, man, this is maybe something I can do for a career. And over the years, I've just grown more and more passionate about it. And I love football, and I'm passionate about football. I'm passionate about building and constructing rosters. You know, it's just something that's always just been fascinating to me. So
I was interested also, like, when it hit you that, like, college GM was even a thing.
Yeah.
'Cause you talked about, you know, doors opening and closing. Like, when did the door for something like this sort of open in your mind?
Yeah.
Or, you know, that may have just been when Notre Dame reached out, or it was just something that had been kicked around a little bit earlier.
yeah, I never really thought about working in college, to be honest. It wasn't something that was, you know, on my mind. It wasn't something I was actively pursuing. But then, yeah, I did get reached out to, and I thought about it, and I was like, man, well, wait. Like, to me, it's never been about NFL or college football. It's always been about building and helping people develop, you know? And it's always been about, to me, like, developing young people so that we can get on the same page, and so that they can win on and off the field, and also to win championships on and off the field. So I thought about it for a minute, and I was like, well, wait, you know, I've always dreamed of being a GM, and I'm going to be a GM. And so here I am as a GM, and nothing's changed. My mission has stayed the same. You know, it's just kind of identifying the right people with the right skill set, and, you know, helping them and helping guide them to reach, you know, team glory and team greatness. So, yep.
Front row on your left, Jack Sobel.
Hey, Mike, Jack Sobel, Blue and Gold
Hey, Jack.
Illustrated. You mentioned that you saw some qualities at Notre Dame that were similar to the ones that made Detroit successful.
Yeah.
What qualities did you kind of identify there?
Yeah, I would say the one thing, I think I knew a few things about Notre Dame prior. I knew about, just the prestige and the academic excellence. I knew about some of the success, the rich tradition on the football field. What I didn't know is I didn't know about the people. I didn't know about, like, the network. I didn't know about how interconnected everyone is here. I think, like, when I came and visited, I was like, man, like, I'd heard about a Notre Dame network, and people seem to love Notre Dame, especially those that went to the school, but I actually felt it when I got here. And I feel like, the people believe in the program, they believe in the academics, they believe, and I think it's that belief that makes this place magical. So, I would say, Jack Kaiser probably said it best, in the people speech. Like, I would say it's the people, and Detroit there's a lot of awesome people there. And, Dan Campbell, one of the more sincere people, a great person, and Brad Holmes the same, and I felt a lot of the similarities here from the minute I met Coach Free, Pete Bavacqua, Ron, all of the staff, my staff currently. Like, it's just a great feel, and I think that's what makes this place special, and that's what drew me to this place.
And Coach Freeman mentioned in a statement that your expertise in utilizing sports science and analytics could help the program. Like, can you dive a little bit into your background with those and how you utilize those in scouting and evaluations?
Yeah, I got to work closely with analytics back in Detroit with, we called it our football information department. And we did a lot just in terms of trying to use numbers to identify statistical standouts, try to help us just sort of narrow down a list and just using them as identifiers of talent. And so there's all sorts of things, whether, you can use just science and numbers and analytics to just not only evaluate talent, but just moving forward, what directions do we want to go? I mean, there's just so many different uses for it. And fortunately, I got to be involved in that. There was so many things that we covered there. I don't want to leave anything out, and but I look forward to working with the team here on that. We got Anthony Tresh, and he's awesome. And so, like, daily we've already kind of put our heads together on some things and look forward to continue to working with them.
Front row on your right, John Bryce.
Hey, Mike. John Bryce with Football Scoop.
JB.
Nice to meet you. I wonder, I think on your trip you met one-on-one with Pete Bavacqua, and he's a guy who obviously made a high-profile transition from NBC to the college game, but you're coming from the NFL to the college game. What was that meeting like? Kind of what was his conversation with telling you about the transition, and how much did that, impact your final decision?
Yeah, I don't get starstruck a lot. I kind of was with Pete, I read his bio, and I told him it took me like 25 minutes to get through his bio. I was fascinated with all the things he's done. The golf background, the NBC Sports, like it was just a deep background. It was an interesting conversation and an awesome conversation where he sort of just told me a lot of the things that he's experienced and some of the things he met with in his transition. And he just, I enjoyed that conversation, and I appreciate him sharing all of those things. And but as it relates to me, I plan on, just continuing to lean on my experiences, my past experiences, and my background, and just using those things moving forward, to continue to, again, help Coach Free, build this team and his vision. So.
And then your former colleague John just got hired as the Michigan State GM. Yeah. There's a number, Nagy going to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Polk to Florida. There's a number of you guys coming from the NFL to the college game. Why do you think that is right now? And then did you talk to any other GMs around college football in making this move?
No, I didn't. I didn't at all. Not a whole lot of interaction with anyone prior. So before accepting this job, I didn't talk to anyone. But it's no surprise to me that people are drawn to these jobs. Again, there's a lot of similarities. And I think people, once they sort of realize that, whether it's a NFL logo or whether it's a college logo, you know, again, a lot of the objectives are the same, and there's a lot of common trends and threads between the type of jobs that we're doing. I was excited to see Dykema get that job. John's a really good guy who was my office neighbor, and he'll do a heck of a job there. But I do think, you know, you'll see more and more guys probably from the NFL level make that jump because to me, it's not a. I see it on the same level. You know, you're doing similar things. You're still evaluating talent. You're still working on contracts and negotiating deals. A lot of those things are you know, things that you do at the NFL level. So why not do it, you know, at these awesome universities and institutions? So yeah,
Mike,
thanks.
that's all the time we have for you for today.
All right,
So
thank you. Oh, wait, can I ask one more thing? Well, I wanted to ask you guys a couple questions. Can you tell me any other schools where you can compete for national championships on the field and work in the classroom towards Ivy League type degrees? Like, can you guys answer that for me? That's what we're doing here, you know? So I just want to put that out there. I also want to yeah. Sorry, Vandy. I had to say that. But also, can anyone in here tell me the significance of March 17th, St. Patty's Day, on the football programs, on our recruiting program? Like, what's the significance of that day? Pot of Gold Day. So Pot of Gold Day obviously is where we extend offers to the class of 2027. And I just, you know, I think that's a really cool thing, right? I think a lot of places they have their, you know, they send offers all throughout the year. I think Pot of Gold Day is a unique experience. So we made an experience out of the whole thing. And I just want to point out that this place was the first place to do that. And I think it's the best place to do it. And I want y'all to remember that March 17th, St. Patty's Day belongs to the Irish. All right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.